Okay, I'm sorry. Many of you are not able to see my screen. Okay, let me just go back then. Okay, some of you. Okay, see what I was saying was let me have a recap. So we know that RC is RC is nothing but one passage and questions set upon the passage. It's usually an informative passage, and the questions are based on it. And okay, and we know that the questions are of two types: factual and inferential. So factual is purely uh, the information is available in the passage directly, and in the inferential questions the information is not explicit in the passage, and you have to use the right amount of logic and visualization to answer the question, right? And this, I guess you heard what I said. So there are, the passage could be either short, medium or long, right? And this could be the set of topics, right? And we know that there will be two sections in verbals, section 1 and section 2. You know that it's an adaptive test, so the difficulty level of the second section will depend on the first section, your performance in the first section. And typically you will have 10 RC questions, of which one will be a long passage usually with 2-3 questions, and the rest will be short and medium passages with 1 or 2 questions each, right? So I guess all of you are aware of these. Okay, so I am sure you have done some amount of RC, all of you. Can you tell me what are the problems that you have faced in doing RCs? Can each of you tell me what have been your unique problems? Anudeep, we just started 5 minutes back, so you're not missed anything. Okay, guys, can you tell me what are the problems? Harsha says long passages hard to read. Okay, he finds long passages bit difficult. Harsha, are you able to understand short passages? Maulya says I lose my concentration. Srikant says unable to go through long passages, same as Harsha. Yuvraj says he's not able to understand some of the sentences. Okay, fine, cool, got it. And Yash says understanding long passages like literature, psychology. Okay, fine. Harsha is able to understand short passages. Sumit Das says I get problems in history, literature. Okay, especially long. That is some humanities topics he finds difficult. That is Sumit. Harsha is okay with short passages. Joyaditya says I gave a detailed mail to Prince. Okay, don't bother about it, Joyaditya, but can you just tell me quickly what are the problems you have faced in summary? Anudeep says even though I divide and understand, I am unable to select options correctly. Okay, so Anudeep, are you able to understand the passage usually regardless of the topic? Is it only the questions that you get wrong? Anudeep Kuchibotla. Tyagarajan says choosing 2 or 3 shortlisted answers. Okay, Tyagarajan's problem is also like Anudeep. Yash says it takes him long time to answer. Okay, speed. But Yash, if you answer slowly, are you able to answer correctly? If you have enough time, are you able to answer correctly? Okay, that's good, Yash. Then you're quite good in that sense then. Sharmila says I have problems with inferential questions. Okay, fine, got it, Sharmila. Yash, Sumit says, Joyaditya says time management is a problem, that is speed, engaging with unfamiliar subjects. Okay, okay, and comprehension. Okay, fine, Joyaditya. Rosaline says, okay, Sumit says all the answers, sometimes 2 answers look similar. Okay, Sumit. Rosaline says slow in reading a passage. Okay, fine, Rosaline. But are you comfortable with the topics, Rosaline? If you read slowly, are you comfortable with all topics? Rosaline Paul. Yash says used to go wrong in minor details. Okay, small things make small kind of logical errors. Anudeep says even though I understand, I am unable to select between almost. Okay, close options. All 2 options look close. Okay, got it, Anudeep. Tyagarajan says multiple answer questions in RC. Okay, fine, Tyagarajan. Srikant says, I can comprehend the passage, but unfortunately answers which answer would be wrong most of the times. Okay, so reasoning is a problem, Srikant. Okay, got it. Then Harsha says, in a long passage, if reading first para is not remembered while reading last para. Okay, when you read, you forget the first para. Is that Harsha? Like keeping in memory is a problem? Okay, is it nervousness? If you're not nervous or not anxious, are you able to do well? Okay, fine, fine. Okay, so many of you have similar problems. Okay, so if we summarize all the problems, do you agree that there are only these four problems? The first is discomfort with the passage or the topic. Many of you are comfortable with science kind of topics, but only humanities and sometimes only long passages, right? Second is you have difficulty in solving questions correctly, and most of the times only inferential, right? Then some of you said unable to solve the questions quickly or issue of speed. And finally somebody said that they find long passages difficult to remember or unwieldy. So can you see, is there any other problem outside this? Whatever all of us we discussed here. Is there any problem which is out of this? Srikant, what about others? Harsha says no. Do you guys agree? Do you see any problem which is out of this? Sharmila says no. Maulya, no. Does anybody has any problems out of this? Yeah, confusing choices is this, no? Typically, difficulty in solving questions. Usually with factual you will not have problems. It's only inferential which both will look similar, right? Yes, right? Okay. Right question for the passage. Rosalind Paul says confused in selecting right question. Right question or right choice? Rosalind? Right answer, right. So that is this, no? Typically my second one. Oh, Yuvraj says sometimes the questions are not understandable, but that is usually very rare, Yuvraj. Okay, we will see that. Yes, Joyaditya says morale is up. What is that, Joyaditya? Morale goes down, is it? Okay, because of the problems, morale goes down, right? If you are able to address these problems, your morale will be up. Do you agree, Joyaditya? Okay, do you guys, all of us agree, right? The problems will be just this in one of these brackets. So, and that is what exactly how this workshop series is organized. So today and the next workshop, we'll focus on discomfort with the topic. We will first focus on how to read a passage fast and how to read it effectively. Okay, the first part of the problem. Second is then we will see how to answer the questions correctly. So I think there are 3 sessions for this. We'll actually solve passages in a particular order and in a predefined order, and we'll get ourselves exposed to all the different kinds of questions and choices, especially inferential and especially from humanities. Okay, and then finally we'll move on to long passages, and finally we'll come to speed. Is this fine? This is how the workshop is also arranged. We'll tackle one difficulty one at a time. Is it fine, everybody? Do you get a big picture now of what we are going to do in this workshop series? Okay, fine. So today we'll be discussing. We'll talk about this problem, dealing with the topics. Okay, fine. So let's be focused. You didn't get on my screen. Srikant, you're not able to see this screen, is it? Typical problems that one faces in RC. It could be a momentary network issue, Srikant. You can maybe just log out and log in quickly. Hi Navin, we are just 10 minutes past. Others are able to see, right? Okay, fine. Yeah. Srikant, you can see now, right? So if you can't hear me or see my screen, one of you, if not everybody, then quickly log out and log in. Yeah, I have muted everybody, Harsha. Only when there is a doubt, I will unmute, which requires talking. Fine. So you can print on the screen, on the chat box, like what you're doing now. Fine. Okay, so let's get started. So everybody's fine now. Shall we start with today's topic then? The main topic, that is what makes passage difficult. Okay. So typically first, if there is something is difficult, then it's better or not understood. Then it is better first to understand what causes the difficulty. Do you guys agree? When there is an unknown enemy, then it is better to first understand the enemy very well, and then you can think about how to tackle him or her, right? Or that whatever that enemy is, right? So since this passage first, if you want to conquer the passage, first then you have to understand what is it about this passage that makes life difficult for you. Okay, so then once you know, then I'm sure that you'll find out ways how to we can find out ways how to circumvent it or master it. Okay, so one of the main problems is of course the serious nature of the topics. So all the passages are usually very scholarly passages, right? The kind that you see in journals. They're not they are not stories, they are not entertaining type of topics, humorous kind of topics, nor are they like newspaper reports, right? So they're more like journals. The kind of the kind of language used here will be the one that is used in typically scientific journals or any other journals that you will find in the library. It is not even the language will not even be like the one that is used in a textbook. In a textbook, typically the language used is to explain you things, right? Make it simple and explain. But in a paper, the author wants only, typically papers are very short. If you see an IEEE paper or a computer society paper, they will have only 8 pages, 4 pages, right? And in that you have to cram what new things that you have found and how it is better than other people. And in a limited space, you have to explain you have to tell everything. You don't have to explain, because the people who read the paper are supposed to be equally learned like you, or even more learned than you. Do you guys agree? Is it right? Right. So same thing in a RC topic. It is like a paper that you'll encounter, like a research paper. So there is no effort to explain you, right? So that is one reason why you find the passages difficult. But please remember that the passages are self-contained in information. So with a bit of intelligent guessing, you should always be able to make some sense of it. Okay, rather than giving it up altogether. So they are always self-sufficient with some GK, general knowledge, and some intelligent guessing. You should be able to answer all the questions. So keep it in the back of the mind that you don't need any more information. So even if you're not used to literature, or if you're not used to history, you should still be able to answer the questions. So keep that in mind. They're designed that way. Okay. The second difficulty that comes is unfamiliar terms from the field being discussed. So if the passage is from economics, it might use a couple of terms from economics. If it is from science and it uses gravity, continental drift, these are terms that you're familiar with, right? Comets and asteroid belts, you're familiar, so you don't get unsettled. But if they start using terms from literature or economics, you will get unsettled, right? But please remember again that the questions are seldom based or rarely based on the details of these terms. Okay, and it is sufficient to get a general sense of these terminologies, because they will not ask you details about these terminologies, right? So again, it's very important that you don't get unsettled by these terms. So as we do many passages in this workshop, you'll find that you don't need to know, you really do not need to know the details of that terminologies which are being discussed. Okay, so we will see this now. Okay, so remember that this makes you unsettled. One is this terminologies from the field, and second is the serious nature. So don't worry about unfamiliar terms. You will not usually get a question. So only as you read, if you get some, you are able to guess what that term might be. It is sufficient. Okay. Harsha is a question. He says it is fine, but it's difficult to understand the main theme of the passage. Okay, we'll come to the main theme, Harsha. We'll come one by one. This is not all. I have some 8 slides on what makes a passage difficult. Okay. Fine. So this is the second one, serious nature, then unfamiliar terms. Okay, I'm also telling you how to overcome that, and we'll practically do it. Okay, fine. So and then now let us have a look at typically what are the topics. Okay, so if you have an idea what they are, we'll feel better, right? So usually we have seen a lot of passages. I saw a lot of passages, and I was able to classify it like this. Okay, so let us have a look at each of it. So first one is, the passages from sociology. Sociology is about people, how we interact with one another, how society evolves, and so on, right? So typically, it will be a passage from sociology would talk about a particular phenomena and what impact it has on the society. Okay, so I guess you can guess. So it will be about businesses started. It will be about ethnic minorities. Businesses started by them. That could be one topic. Okay, then the impact of industrial revolution on the role of women. I guess you would have heard of industrial revolution, which happened in 18th century when steam engine and all was invented and factories started coming up. I guess most of you would have heard about it. James Watt and all that. And then factories were started in Europe, and women started going to the factories, right? So then what effect it had on women? They had to also work in the factories and also work at home. So what impact it had? This is a typical sociology topic. Okay. Then impact of war or conflict. So whenever there is a war or a conflict, ethnic conflict, then it has an impact on children, right? Children or women or society. So a passage could be about an impact of that war. Okay. Then science. You're all familiar with this. In a science passage, it will be typically what is the impact of a new discovery or invention. Okay, so it could be, for example, discovery of new electrosensors on the snout of a fish and how it uses it to do some extraordinary activities. Like, let's say it accurately migrates from one geographic area to another. So does it use these sensors to navigate, or does it use these electrosensors to catch its prey? Do you guys get it? So typically it will be an invention or a discovery and its impact, right? Or new types of meteors that have been discovered on the surface, or new fossils which have been discovered, which throws up new possibilities about the evolution of life. Do you guys get it? Typically science passages will be like this. Okay, fine. So meanwhile, any questions so far? Murugeshwari, Ishwari, you have a question? Any question, Ishwari? Okay, let's continue, get an idea of the passages. Briefly explain again. Okay, I was just talking about, just some, how the passages will be. You can revise it later. So as I was saying, one will be, passages from sociology. They will be about typically some phenomena in the society and what impact it has on the society. For example, a war or a conflict, right? Or minority groups, if they start a business, what impact it has, and so on. Science, I guess you are aware, typically the passage will be about a new invention or discovery and its impact. Okay. Sumit says sometimes it's very difficult to get an exact summary or message of the author. Yeah, we will actually do some Sumit, we will actually be doing some passages and slowly we will understand. I'll show you how to find the main idea and so on. We are coming to that. Let's get a quick idea. Let's get a quick idea of what typically the passages are about. Okay, Sumit, then slowly we'll come to that. Don't jump the gun. First, let's understand, get a broad idea. Srikanth says we need to have a basic idea about the passage. No, you actually need not, but Srikanth, but if you do some 30 passages, surely you will get an idea of most of the topics which are used in RC. or at least you'll start feeling comfortable. So I feel about 30 passages you should practice very seriously, and that is all you need to get a good hang of all whatever I'm talking about. You'll start feeling familiar with the passages. Tyagarajan says, we also encountered few passages regarding wars and revolution. Ah, that's correct, Tyagaraj. Harsha says about history. No, you don't have to really know about history, Harsha, but some small things here and there are good, like some knowledge of World War, that there was some American history will be good. You can browse through Wikipedia. You know, if you read, sometimes what you should do is after you read a passage, you like something, you should go to Wikipedia and read little more about it. For example, Industrial Revolution, go and look up. Feminism, go and look up. Okay, so in parallel, for example, you come across Great Depression of the 30s. Go to Wikipedia, find out what was this Great Depression of the 30s and so on. In parallel, continue to build your general knowledge. It will be helpful. Okay, Harsha. Tyagarajan says, under which category does those sort of passages come? Which sort of passages, Tyagarajan? I lost the thread. Maulya says, how to know the important points. I'll come to that, Maulya. First, we'll just getting an idea. Then we'll see how to pick up the ideas from the passage, how to dissect the passage. Srikant sir, yes sir, absolutely, we are doing it for sure in solving this passage. Okay. Yash says, what about literature passages? I'm coming to literature passages are next. I'll talk about it. Tyagarajan says, regarding wars and revolutions only. You already answered my query. Okay, Tyagarajan. Okay. So what you guys do is to build a general knowledge about history. Whenever you read a passage and if you find something interesting, go and look up in Wikipedia. Okay. That will slowly add to your knowledge. Ideally, no more knowledge is needed than what is there in the passage, but you could use Wikipedia for that. Okay. Then let's see some more topics. Somebody asked about literature. I'll come to literature. Then a passage could be about two views on any subject. So typically, if you have a scholarly subject, there might be one group of experts who believe in one thing, and you have another group of experts. They have their own reason to believe the other way, right? The passage will talk about both the views, right? So one is, amongst physicists, whether the universe is expanding or contracting, right? Some believe that's a big bang and it's expanding. Others believe that we are heading towards a black hole. So passage could be like that. Then a passage could be on geology, and amongst the geologists, there is again a difference of opinion about the Earth's mantle or the Earth's core. Some believe it is layered. Okay, there are layers inside, different kinds of layers as we go inside. Some feel that it is randomly heterogeneous. So they will have their own reasons, and the passage will discuss about it. Okay, so that's about two views. Okay, then comes literary criticism. Somebody was asking me about it. Okay, that was Yash. So literary criticism, typically it will take one of the four forms. Okay, so it could be about a contribution of a author or a poet, okay, in generally creating new styles or genres. For example, Van Gogh. How many of you heard about Van Gogh, the artist? He started something called Impressionism. Has anybody heard about it? For example, earlier when there was no cameras, people used to paint exactly, right? Camera-like portraits, right? Then came Van Gogh and another artist around him in France, and they started painting themes as how it impressed them, not exactly how it looked. It was like a predecessor of modern art. That was a new genre. Van Gogh, V-A-N-G-O-G-H, Praveen. So this is contribution of an author for new styles or genre, or like say Walt Disney. He started a new trend, right? Animation. So a poet could be, a passage could be about that. Okay, then it could be, now somebody does some piece of work, literature or movie or something, and then it impacts the society, right? For example, in India, that novel Anand Math and Vande Mataram, it triggered it provided boost to the freedom struggle, right? So that's an example of literature which influences society. So the passage could be about an author whose work influences the society. Okay, then uh, who influenced the author himself, right? Sometimes the author or the artist himself will be influenced by something, right? Somebody, for example, Michelangelo, he was influenced heavily by the Bible. So many of his themes are biblical themes. So the passage might talk about what influenced or motivated the author, right? And finally, uh, passages about a particular author's novel or his style of writing. Okay, so typically it will only fall in these four categories. Okay, any questions? Anudeep says that these type of contribution of author about his work, such type I'm unable to differentiate. Okay, we will see. You don't have to differentiate this passage. No question will ask you, no passage, no RC question will ask you what type of passage it is. It will ask you some details about the passage. It's just good to have an overall idea. Okay, so that you're aware. Fine. So there's just basically what I'm trying to tell you that there are just some finite types, and you just have to be familiar. You will not be asked, given a passage, it's not necessary to tell which category does it fall into. Is this fine, Anudeep and everybody? Let's take an overall view, like a bird's eye view of the passages. This is all about it. You don't have to really mug this up and try to map. Okay, Harsha says another example for contribution makes easy to understand. Contribution of an author which makes it, yeah, you can talk about Walt Disney, no? A good example will be Walt Disney. He revolutionized animation movies, Harsha. Okay, then there was a guy called Griffith. That passage is there. He contribution is what is the meaning of contribution? Contribution is when you discover a new style. Okay, you got it. Walt Disney, animation was not there before that. Okay, you got it. Fine. Or even Einstein has a contribution, right? He started Einsteinian physics, right? Okay, so that is it's facing problems pointing out the author's tone in the literature. Okay, tone will come to the tone. Yes, don't worry. We have a whole slide on tones. Don't bother about it. We'll come to all these little points slowly. Let's take a bird's eye view and come in and get into the details. Manu wants to know, but if this is a long passage, how much time we should devote to? Okay, Manu, please let's not jump the gun. Let's not talk about time and all that. First, let us understand long passages is later in this workshop series. We'll come to that. It is slightly different. We are just taking right now I don't want to talk about time management and about answering questions. Today's topic is today and the next topic is just how to understand a passage and comprehend it better. That is your first step in solving reading comprehension. Understanding the passage effectively and in a short while. Is that fine, Manu? And everybody? Let us not, okay? Just focus on, the first step, how to crack the passage. Not the questions or anything. That is subsequent. Harsha says, okay, that's done. Dedication for a discovery. Dedication for a discovery will not be typically an RC topic, Sumit. It will be about the discovery and what is unique about it and how it influenced. Seldom it will be about glorification of somebody for a discovery. That might be a minor part of it, but essentially it will talk about what effect it had or what caused it. Can you, Naveen asks, can you give me an example of author's novel? Okay, we'll see one passage either today or tomorrow and how an author's novel is analyzed. Okay, Naveen? Okay, for example, if you want a quick example, you can take up a novel like Anand Math in India and somebody can analyze and see what influence it had on people. Okay, or you can take any book, now Mein Kampf you can take and say what effect it had in other parts of the world, Hitler's biography. Okay, so there are typical examples, but we will see some typical ones. which are real RC passages. Yes, Salman Rushdie, yes, that also created problems. Yeah, so like that. You're right, Naveen Kumar. Yuvraj says, please move on, sir. We don't have much time to finish. Just an introduction. No, Yuvraj, it's important to address everybody's doubts, whatever small and big they may be. So let us not be in a hurry. That's okay. Let people ask, and difficult to discern intern. It's still confusing. Okay, Joyaditya, we will see when we actually do those passages. Okay, Mohammed wants to know, Zafar, sir, what's about passages that are about Earth, universe? They are long and okay. We will see, Mohammed. Long passages we'll see later. Let us go step by step and first understand, what are broadly the topics. Okay, we'll come to. We'll slowly get into it. Let us see the car from outside, then open the bonnet. Let's see the engines. That kind of a thing. Okay, let's see, you have a phone in your hand. Let us see the features from outside first, then let us open the box, then go into the circuit and so on. Is it fine, Zafar and everybody? That's what we are doing now. Okay, so we are just taking an aerial view of the passages. Okay, like a reconnaissance exercise. Okay, fine. Okay, so you are clear now. So now what for developing skills? Many of you guys were asking what kind of GK and all should I have, and how do I get familiar with the language? That is typical in these RC passages. So here is what I will suggest you: start reading serious articles from editorials of prominent papers and magazines. So this is what I would suggest you. Read from the Hindu, its editorials. Read from these two magazines, Economist and the Financialist. Okay. So nobody said that. Sometimes don't you have problems with vocabulary itself? Do you find the RC passages difficult because you don't understand the words? Yuvraj says not much. Okay. Okay. But sometimes he does. Manu says no. Naveen very much. Sumit sometimes. Tyagarajan. Okay. So it all depends on, how much vocabulary you have developed. So that is also a problem. Sometimes some difficult GRE words are used. Okay. So use these two apps. Use the word locator app and use the word bot. Use the word bot for learning words. Are you guys familiar with the word bot application? In that, list 6 and 7 typically contains words which are encountered in RC. Okay, all of you are familiar with these apps, right? And from the editorials, I would suggest that read at least 3 or 4 every day in the midst of your other things. Is it fine, everybody? This is like your basic step for developing your reading skills, and yes, Prahlad, I'll be sharing the material with you. Okay, that's the first step. Manu says Al Daily is also a All Daily is also a good one. That's a good one. Yes, aldaily.com is also good. How to locate time for the same? What I suggest is, Naveen, whenever you finish something and you're browsing, going forward for your relaxation, I suggest that you read 1 or 2 articles. Whenever you're reading the newspaper, quickly go and read 1 or 2 articles at that time online. Yash is asking, list 6 and 7 help me in SC/TC. So list 5 will help you in TC and SC. List 6 and 7 is for RC. List 5 is for TC/SC. Is it fine, Yash and everybody? Okay, so this is what you do for developing your vocabulary and your okay, but there are still more things. Let me move on to the next topic. Okay, then how many of you find this a problem where the author implicitly communicates a few ideas? He does not directly tell. Right, most of us find this difficult, right? The tone, and most of the times, right? We'll see all these things. Okay, then how the tone and the attitude, right, of the author towards something or to a person or an idea, right? And that is because it is hinted in a subtle manner. Of course, the author will never say that I hate this guy or this guy is too good, awesome. None of those things. He tells it in a very subtle manner, and you have to guess it, right? So that's another difficulty. That's another part. So we'll see how to detect tones and attitudes. And last, the purpose of the passage is many times not explicitly mentioned, right? And then you have to guess what is the purpose of this passage, right? So we will see all these things, right? So I guess many of you are familiar now, right? Now slowly let us come to each of these things. Then let's continue further with the difficulties. Some sentences in the passages are long. How many of you find problems with long passages? Not long passages, I'm sorry, long sentences. Okay, Maulya feels, Manu has no problem with long sentences. Yeah, so quite a few of you feel, right? Yuvraj feels. So typically in a passage, usually 2 or 3 lines are long, and they sometimes contain most of the information. And cracking those long sentences is actually the crux of reading a passage. The second style is advanced sentence styles. So what are these? I'll come to what this is. And finally, reasoning is finely entwined in the narration. That is, he tries to give facts, and in between that, he also gives a reasoning. So these were the 3 things that I've shown here are actually the stuff that makes passages difficult. I'm sure you'll read vocabulary, and by the time you have a GRE, words will not be a problem. Okay, and you'll gather enough general information so that you'll be familiar with a lot of these topics. That won't be a problem. It is these 3 things that make your reading difficult. Do you guys, is it fine with everybody? So let's focus on these 3 things, and this presentation today will be focusing about these three issues. Okay. Third point. Okay, I'll explain each of this, Yuvraj. Let's see examples now. Okay. So, okay, let us see what are the examples of style. Okay. So look at this line on my screen. Okay. It says, let's read this. It says, I do not necessarily rely on public transport because I cannot afford the cost of running a private vehicle. I feel it is more eco-friendly. Okay. So from this line, what can you understand? Does the author, why does he take public transport? From this line, does he take public transport or does he take private vehicle? What does he do? So what does he do? Finally, what does he do? Does he use public transport or does he use private transport? Can you tell me this one? Anthony says public transport. Naveen says public transport. Okay. What about others? Karthik says public transport. Maulya says public transport. Everybody agrees, right? Public transport. Okay. Now, second question is, can he afford a private vehicle from this sentence? Don't look at the other things. Can he afford a private vehicle? Actually, Gauri Shankar says no. Harsha says he cannot afford the cost. Harsha says he cannot afford. Maulya says no. Manu, most of you say no. Manu also says no, but Karthik says yes, he can afford. Yuvraj says no. Praveen says no. Anthony says he can. Anudeep says no. Most of you say it cannot. Sharmila says yes, he can. Yash says yes. Yes, read so whatever Sharmila, Yash have said is correct, and Anthony has said is correct. From this sentence, he actually means that he can actually afford the cost of a private vehicle. When you say I do not necessarily, rely on public, because that's not the reason. It is not that I cannot afford the cost of running a private vehicle. Read very carefully. This is a stylish statement. Okay. So actually, yes, he relies on the public transport. Okay. He can afford the cost of running a public vehicle. Okay. But that is not the reason. Then why does he take public transport? What is the reason? Why does he take public transport if he can afford a vehicle? Yeah, Prahlad says eco-friendly, Harsha says eco-friendly. So he finds it more. Karthik says, Sumit says eco-friendly. So all of you agree. So now do you get it? When he says, I do not necessarily rely on public transport because I cannot afford the cost of a public vehicle, it actually means that, look, I can afford a private vehicle, but I take public transport because of some other reason. Do you guys get this now? Now read carefully and you got it right. So this is the example of a style, sentence style. So if you are in a hurry and don't focus, so these are kind of sentence styles that can get you wrong. Okay, so exactly like most of you interpreted that I rely on public transport because I cannot afford the. This is wrong. This, if you interpret it this way, it is wrong. Anudeep is asking, does it mean he can take the private transport, but some reason is there? Yeah, you're right, Anudeep. He can take the private transportation if he wants to, but he has some other reasons not to take it. You're right, Anudeep. So do you guys get it? This is an example of a stylish statement. This is what I mean, style. Okay. Now this, so now look at the same style in an actual small part of an actual RC statement. Sumit is asking, why here the word cannot used? Why is here that the word cannot? Where is cannot? I do not necessarily rely on trust. So what Anudeep said is very correct. He's saying, like, it is it's not that I take public transport because I cannot afford, but it is because I find it more eco-friendly. Yeah, yeah. Because see, okay. This cannot does not mean that I cannot afford. You have to read the whole line. Okay, let me give you another example. This is same as, okay, let me ask you one. Let me show you one more. It is similar to this. Okay, can you guys read this sentence, all of you? Okay. If let me replace I with let's say Tom. So can you tell me? So did Tom, from this statement, can you tell me whether did Tom reach on time to the office? Praveen says no. Karthik says he reached late. Manu says no. Sharmila says he did not reach. Rosaline says yes. Come on, Rosaline, look at the sentence properly. It says, had it not rained, then he would have reached on time. So what has happened? Exactly the opposite has happened, right? Manu Sharma says not on time. That's correct. Sumit says he's late. Rosaline says, now you got it, Rosaline? So Yash says Tom did not reach office. Maulya says he reached late. That's correct. Yash says on time. Okay, did not reach office on time. Okay, so all of you got it, right? And did it rain or it did not rain suddenly? Rosaline, did it rain or did not rain? Gauri Shankar says it rained. Prahlad says it rained. Sumit rained. Rosaline, it not. Oh, Rosaline, it is not. No, Rosaline. So everybody says it rained. Srikant says it didn't rain. No. It is. You should not go by not rain. The whole statement actually means this is a stylish statement. Now there is no reason why it is like this. this is English. There's no really logic. The meaning of this is it suddenly and Tom was late. Do you guys get it? Rosalind, do you get this? Rosalind, Paul? So everybody gets this. Okay. So this is the meaning of this, and there's no reason. Don't ask me why this means this. That is how it is. This is a stylish statement. So this is what we say. If the exam was easy, then I would have cracked. That what does that mean? Like same like this, no? Like suppose this after the exam, and if you say, if somebody says if the exam was easy, even I would have cracked, or I would have cracked. Okay, this is a familiar statement, right? Have you made this kind of a statement in life sometime? Okay, Rosaline and all. So what does this mean? Was the exam easy or hard? Or did the guy crack or he did not crack? Exam was hard, right? All of you. And did this guy crack? He did not crack, right? Now you got it. So don't look at this and say exam was easy. Don't look at this and say that the exam was easy, and don't look at this line and say that he has cracked. So actually it means exam was not easy. It actually means exam was hard and he did not crack. Oh, okay, all of you. Fine. I guess you got it. So going back, yeah. Jyotaditya says, what is the role of necessarily? Yeah, necessarily means that necessarily is not my reason, is what he's saying. Yeah, I take public transport, but that is necessarily not my reason of not unable to, but basically it means he can, if he wants, he can invest and buy. That is what he's saying. Probably he doesn't have a private vehicle. Right. Joyaditya, if you think carefully, that means that he can buy actually, but he has not bought it. If necessarily is there, that means he can afford to, but he has not bought it. Do you get it, Joyaditya? Fine. Okay, let's look at the next one. So now you saw all the simple examples, right? Okay, now look at this real one or two lines from an actual RC passage, GRE RC passage. Can you guys read it quietly, calmly, without hurry? Same style is used somewhere. Read it and then I will ask you some small questions. Tell me when you're finished. Read slowly and tell me when you're finished. Manu is done. Okay. What about others? Karthik is done. Okay. Yash is done. Rosaline done. Yuvraj done. Gauri Shankar is done. Okay. Maulya is done. Okay. What about Anthony? Kutti, are you done? Sumit Das is done. Okay. Okay. Srikanth is done. Naveen done. Okay. Fine. Okay. Joyaditya done. Okay. So let me ask a question. So give me sharp answers. Okay. So whom does this passage refer to? Whom does this passage refer to? Okay. Karthik says entrepreneurs. What about others? Gauri Shankar says entrepreneurs. Okay, I want more precise answers. Now, Anthony says individual entrepreneurs. Yash says minority ethnic groups. Srikant says entrepreneurs. Naveen says individual entrepreneurs. Okay, Sumit Das is perfect. He says entrepreneurs of minority group. That is perfect. It is not talking about entrepreneurs in general. It is not talking about minorities. It is talking about entrepreneurs from minority groups. Sumit is perfect. Maulya is perfect. He says individual entrepreneurs from minority groups. Manu says, yeah, he's correct. Manu. Rosalind says minority entrepreneurs. That's also correct. And Yuvraj says minority ethnic group of no, Yuvraj, that's not correct. It's not minority ethnic group of entrepreneurs. It is entrepreneurs from minority community. Okay, do you guys fine? So that was good. So be sharp now. Okay, it talks about individual entrepreneurs from minority community. Fine. Now, what does it talk about? So when they need financial support, when they need financial backing, whom do they depend on? Whom do they depend on? Okay, Karthik is correct. Kin, Yash is correct. Anthony correct. Gauri Shankar family. Yuvraj family. Yash is relatives. Kin, right. Either, okay, Manu, Manu is not correct. He says relatives or banks. You're not correct, Manu. Read carefully. Harsha, you're wrong. Commercial institutions. It's completely wrong. Anudeep says kin. Joyaditya says kin. Maulya says kin. Praveen says kin. Naveen says kin. Okay, so they depend upon it's very clearly said, they mostly depend upon their kin. Kin means friends and relatives. Okay, and why don't they depend on banks? Srikant is right on family. Why don't they depend on banks or commercial sources? Why don't they go to? Okay, Harsha says high interest. Anthony says high interest. Is that the only reason given in the passage? Only high interest? Yeah, Karthik is perfect. He says two reasons. Karthik is perfect. He says two reasons, and he says, right, that is Karthik has got it perfect. Anudeep is perfect. He has spotted out both the reasons. Harsha, okay, now he says special needs. That's correct. So we have to be really sharp now. So there are two reasons, right? Everybody agrees, right? This is what I meant. Please be very sharp. Maulya also has got it right. Fine. Suresh Babu says two reasons. Okay, fine. So now I think all of you got it. Okay, so there are two reasons. One is unreasonably high rate, and second is cannot comprehend the special needs of the minority community. Okay, so now my question is, now he has not told what is the special needs of a minority business, right? Businesses started by minority people. So now can you guess what could be their special needs be? It is implicit, it is not told. So from your general understanding and general awareness, what could these special needs be? Can you visualize? Yeah, can you visualize and tell? High interest rates, you can understand. What could be their special needs? Anudeep says whatever their business. Write in one sentences, okay, guys. Don't break the line. Take your time and write full sentences, because if you break across lines, I find it hard. Yuvraj says capital. No, capital is covered. Loans are covered. That is not a special need. So if you go to them, they will charge you high rates. That is one problem. And what could be a special needs? Yeah, Harsha is perfect. He says more time to repay. That's correct, Harsha. That could be one reason. You know, the business might be small and it might take more time to repay the loan. Maybe the banks will not understand that. That could be one special need. You're right, Harsha. What about, think about like this. Now, suppose you take student loans. You also face problems, right? Think of your experience in GK, general knowledge. Then environment to grow. Karthik is also somewhat close. He says environment to grow. So maybe, yeah, it takes time for the business to grow. Srikant says might be for domestic usage. No, I don't understand that. Anthony says flexibility in paying the capital. Yeah, that also could be reason. So you don't want you might want the first installment to be small, next installment to be big, and so on. That is also possible. Or 1 year you don't want to pay the installment. After 1 year you want to pay. Karthik says waiver. That's correct. You're right. Naveen says to expand business and long time. That's correct, Naveen. These are some. Praveen says no interest. Yeah, that is extreme. Nobody will give you on no interest, but they could get less interest rate. Manu says, okay. Sumit want a bank to fulfill special needs. But Sumit, that's what I'm thinking. What are the special needs can you? Yes says repay of loans. Okay, right. Flexibility in repaying. That's correct, Yes. Special needs. Then proximity of the banks. They do not fall under minority enterprise. Depends on profit they get to repay the loan. No, that's correct, Suresh. That could be a reason, right? Yeah, Maulya says flexibility in playing the role. Maulya, flexibility. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, so typically those are the considerations. Okay, can you think of other things? Sometimes they may not have a collateral. You may not have collateral. That's something, you may not have gold to keep or a house to mortgage. In spite of that, can they give a loan? May get more loans if needed without procedure. That's also possible, Anthony. The procedures may be too rigid, and yes, you're right. No security needed, right? So all these are, you're right. All of these guys, all of these, whatever you guessed, could be the special needs. If we take loan only, there will be higher interest rates. So why only option is no higher interest rate? Typically is one thing, Anudeep. Sometimes I can afford higher interest rate, but I cannot pay it next year. Let's say you take a loan for MS. You might want to pay after 2 years. Slightly high interest is fine, but after you get a job, you might want to pay. So you might not be bothered about the high 1% more or 2% more. Do you get it, Anudeep? Somebody might give you a low interest and say that start paying from next month itself. Okay, so interest rates and flexibility in repayment are two different things. Okay, so now you guys got it. So I guess now you're able to see the stylish statement there. Could you spot the style in this first line? Do not necessarily rely on their kin. So you should not interpret it as they do not rely on their kin. Do you guys now are you able to see all these things? Rosaline, are you able to understand? Praveen says it's better to take loans for MS from kins. Yeah, possibly, Praveen. Okay, fine. So any more doubts on this passage or this style? Basically, passage was not the point, but it is that styles make it difficult. Any doubts, anyone, on this style? Yeah, it is from Codex. You're right, Yuvraj. Okay, no doubts. Okay, then let's move on. No more doubts. Okay, so fine. So I guess you got it right here, all of you. Okay, so let's. So we have identified. I'm not going to discuss all the styles, but I have created a PDF which contains about 8 or 9 styles which are typically encountered in RC. Okay, so I have given simple examples and also the actual examples from RC passages. So I'll send you after this webinar, your SFA will send you. So get familiar with these sentence styles, constantly revise them. You don't have to mug it up, but just get familiar with it. Is it fine, everybody? There are only some 7 or 8 styles. We searched a lot of passages and we have identified this. Okay. And when we send you these PDFs and videos, please don't share it in the internet, okay? Because we also put a lot of pains in collecting all these things. Keep it to yourself, study as much as you want, but don't spread it as far as possible. Okay? Fine. So I will send you this PDF file. Okay. So, okay, fine. The next one, let's look at the next one. I said that facts and arguments are entwined. Do you remember this? This is the second difficulty. One is long sentences. Second is this stylish statements. Third is, yeah, the third point. You're right, Yuvraj. You are asking me. So this is what I meant by, this is an example of facts and arguments are end to end. Can you guys read this little passage? Please read this little small passage. It's an extract from an RC passage to illustrate the point. Read it and let me know when you're finished. Okay, Yash is done. This is from science, okay? I mean, it's quite obvious, you guys know. Suresh is done, okay. Karthik is done. Sumit done, okay. Yuvraj done, okay. Maulya finished, fine. Rosalind done, okay. Harsha, Zafar, are you reading? Manu Sharma. Okay, Manu is done. Srikanth is done. Raju is done. Okay. Tyagarajan. Okay. Anthony is done. Tyagaraj, Yash, are you guys done? Yash is done. Okay, fine. Fine. So let me ask you a question now. Give me focused answers. Don't give me generic. So what does this passage refer to? Whom does it refer to? Okay. Now Sumit says meteorites on Earth. Karthik says meteorites from space. Does it refer to any meteorite? Does it refer to any meteorite? Read carefully. Yeah, meteorites found on Earth. That's correct. Right. Yash got it correct. He says meteorites of type S. S. Rosalind, that's not correct. It is not small bodies. Srikanth, you're right, meteorites, but more specific answer is meteorites of type S. You're right, Joyaditya. Srikanth, you're not correct. You say it's Mars. No, it's not relevant to Mars. Ronak says meteorites from Mars. Okay, I'll come to that. Tyagarajan says of type S. That's correct, Tyagarajan. Karthik, no meteorites that have a source. No, Karthik. It just refers to meteorites of type S. Zafar is correct. Meteorites of type S found on Earth. That's precise answer. Praveen says S is derived from large source. Okay, that's my next question. I'll come to that, Praveen. Manu is meteorite of type. That's perfect, Manu. Precise. Manu says, okay, main subject is meteorite of type S. No. Let's not go to the main subject. Okay, now my next question is, so what is this passage concerned about regarding meteorite of type S? What is it concerned about? What does it discuss about meteorite of type S? Yeah, Yuvraj is correct where it is deriving. Harsha says they are from Mars. That's not correct. New theories about how they landed upon Earth. Karthik says, Yash says source is large planets. Unlike others, is derived from a large source. Okay, so in general, yeah, you're right, Praveen. Then others, what about others? Manu says source was a large planet. Okay, so Maulya is perfect. It says it is talking about their source. That is correct and precise answer. That is what I was expecting. You're right, Maulya. Okay, so it is talking about meteorites of type S and what was their source, right? Okay, from the passage, is it clear? Do you get a clear answer where it is from? What is the source? Karthik says no. What about others? Sumit says no. Does the passage finally tell you where it came from? Yash says no. Joyaditya no. Maulya no. What about others? Pratyusha, Manu, what about you? Anthony says no. Anudeep, my question is, does the passage finally tell you where it comes from? Where these meteorites come from? Tyagarajan says no. Okay, Harsha says conceivably from Mars. That's correct, fine. Okay, but actually it doesn't tell you in black and white, right? Okay, now read carefully and tell, does he suspect their origin from Mars? Does he suspect, or is he clear that they come from Mars? Karthik says yes. Harsha says it does not. Yash says yes. Rosalind, yes, that's correct. Manu says yes. Yes, Manu is right. He's skeptical. Yeah, Anthony, you're right. He's skeptical. He suspects. That's correct. Karthik says he makes a proposal, but what does he do in the end, Karthik? From this last line? Mohammed says no. You're right, Mohammed. Srikanth says yes. Not clear, just suspect. That's right, Anudeep. Tyagarajan says he suspects it might be from Mars. That's correct, Tyagarajan. Suspect from Mars. Maulya says. Karthik says doesn't affirm. That's correct, Karthik. Joyaditya says suspects from Mars. That's correct, Joyaditya. He just example as Harsha says. Yeah, it's a conjecture. You're right, Harsha. Karthik says doesn't confirm. He's assuming. That's correct, Gauri Shankar. Yuvraj says it's dubious. Fine. Assumption is dubious. Fine. Karthik says their source origins have not been discovered. Okay, fine. So that's correct. So you guys got a good understanding. And what reason does he give for his suspicion? He suspects that they are from Mars. For what reason? The reason is not moon, Harsha. Give me precise answer. What is the reason why he suspects? Why he suspects? Karthik says it's because of the properties of the meteorites. Is it because of the properties of the meteorites? Yeah, Yuvraj is right. No meteorites of lunar origin have been discovered. That's correct. Yuvraj, I agree with you. Yes says gravitational force. Not okay. That's also one reason. But what good justification he gives? Anudeep, why it cannot be from Mars? Yuvraj has got it right. Manu is not correct. Sri Gauri Shankar says source was a large planet, not gravitational. What example he gives? Rosalind, you're right. No meteorites of lunar origin have been found. Karthik is right. No meteorites from the moon have been discovered. That he gives as a good justification, as a counter example. Karthik is right. No, Ronak Somani, that exhibits unique properties. No, that's not the reason. Okay, the reason is in the last line. We have no meteorites even from discovered from the moon on the surface of the earth. So how can one believe that they would have come from Mars? Do you guys see the last line? Srikanth, you're right. No meteorites of lunar. Harsha asks, what is lunar? Lunar is from the moon. Solar is sun, right? Refers to sun. Likewise, lunar refers to the moon. Do you guys agree now? So a couple of you guys got it, but many of you did not. Maybe because my question was not correct, whatever. But you have to get these kind of. This is a good example of facts, but he had arranged the facts, and in the end he gives an opinion. Okay, in a very, through facts he comes with an argument. Now, do you understand what I meant? What facts and arguments are entwined? He seems to be just giving facts, but actually he is developing an argument. Right? So actually what were the facts? If you see, these were the facts. Do you agree? These were some of the facts discussed in the passage. Right? And now do you see, let us analyze this passage. So the first line was saying that most meteorites found on Earth appear to derive from comparatively smaller bodies. Meteorites of type S exhibit properties that indicate that their source was a larger planet, conceivably Mars. So he's giving a hypothesis here in this line. Do you guys agree? He's giving some factual information and then he's making an hypothesis. Right? When he says conceivably Mars, right, he's giving a hypothesis or a conjecture. Right? Do you agree? This line? Okay. Then he gives three facts in the next line. in a particular order. He says that in order to account for such an unlikely source, some unusual factors must be invoked. Right? If it has to come from Mars, something extraordinary should have happened. That is fact one. In normal circumstances, no object from Mars would have landed upon Earth. Right? Then he says fact two. What he gives the reason for it. The reason is because the impact needed to accelerate a fragment of rock to escape the gravitational field of a body, even as small as the moon, is so great that no meteorites of lunar origin have been discovered. So this is a fact that there are no meteorites found on Earth which have come from the moon. Okay, so here he's combining a logic. So if we have not found a meteorite from the moon, how is it possible that we would have got a meteorite from Mars, which is far, number one, and two, which is bigger, much bigger than the moon. Do you guys agree? Jafar asks, what is conjecture? Conjecture means a guess, Jafar. Do you guys got it, Jafar? When you don't have a solid reason and you are guessing, it is also called as a conjecture. Okay, so so based on these three facts, there are three facts here. The author makes an hypothesis, but implicitly says that it's unlikely that they are from Mars. The author does not say directly, but indirectly hints that it is possibly not from Mars. Do you guys now first understand these things, how facts and arguments are entwined? Do you see this as an example? Hello everybody. Is it clear now? Of course, you don't have to really bother. Nobody will ask you, is it like this or like that? But you need to know what is happening below so that you are able to tackle it. You don't have to really know that this is this style and this is the passages of this type. Okay. Harsha is asking, is it a true passage or fake? Don't bother, Harsha. This is taken from modified passage from CodeCox, from ETS big book. Okay, actually one never knows whether the information in a GRE passage is 100% correct or not, whether those people really existed or not. But what is important is whether you are getting the logic correctly or not. That's why you're not supposed to use information outside what is mentioned in the passage. Do you get it, Harsha? Okay, so don't use your extra knowledge. That's another thing. Don't use extra knowledge than what is presented in the passage. Okay. So he has a very nice question, Harsha. He says that they have found meteorites from Mars. That is possible. Now this is for me to give you an illustration, but whatever it is, don't use your extra knowledge. Even if you know something which is true outside the passage, you have to just stick to the information provided in the passage. Is it fine, everybody? Okay, fine. So now, okay, so what we'll do is we'll pick up a lot of passages. Joyaditya's doubts. What is your doubt? There is, if fact 3 were to be missing, what would the reason be? If there was no explicit analogy drawn. Right. Yeah, if fact 3 was not there, then there is no argument. You're right, Joyaditya. If fact 3 was not there, then this passage does not really have a meaning. So that way, all the passages will be logically tight. There will not be any scope for error in a GRE passage. Is it fine, Joyaditya? Your doubt is valid. If fact 3 was not there, this passage would not have had that punch. Yeah, you're right, Yuvraj. Information in the passage is self-contained. That's correct. Okay. Fine. So this was the second point. Okay. So this is actually an example of a long passage. This we will do next time. In the next workshop, we will focus on the third problem. We saw that there were three problems typically: long sentences, sentence style, and reasoning is finely entwined with the narration, which we just saw. This only by solving many passages, we will slowly be able to understand this better. How reasoning is entwined with the narration. Not all passages are this complicated, like the one that we discussed last, but that was like an extreme example. Okay, sometimes the logic will be linear. As you read, you are able to understand the logic. Okay, and for sentence styles, I'll send you the PDF. Okay, and how to break long sentences, we will see, take actual passages and do it in the next workshop. Is it fine, everybody? So we will break. This workshop will break here and continue from the next one. But now, if you have any questions and doubts on what we discussed, we can talk about it now. Praveen wants to know, is the passage is small? I can answer, but the passage is big, I'll lose concentration in the middle. Right. Don't worry, Praveen. Long passages, we will come to it in the subsequent workshop. It needs slightly different techniques. Sometimes you will find that short passages, don't underestimate a short passage. It can have such only 2 or 3 long lines, and it can totally take you for a toss. But either case, long passages have different story, short passages have different problems. We will cover long passages in the subsequent workshop. Karthik says, do you have my email ID? Yeah, I should be having from the database, Karthik. Don't worry, I'll get it. All the SFAs have sent me, have invited you guys, and they have a list. And I will be getting that list from there. So don't worry, Karthik. I'll get from them and email you. I'll be emailing you both the recordings. Your SFA will get in touch with you and also send you this PDF. Praveen is asking, hi sir, if the passage is small, a big, I'll lose concentration. Okay, Praveen, we'll address this as I said. Is the workshop is entirely on 3? Okay, you're asking questions at a very fast rate and it's scrolling down. Give me a... Okay, I'll take all the questions slowly. It's scrolling. Then please wait. Harsha is asking, is the workshop entirely on 3 topics only? Yeah, there are only three major problems, Harsha. One is how to read correctly. Now, when you actually start reading, within that there are 3 problems, as we have just seen. I'm not considering vocabulary, which you will read, but other than that, there are long sentences, advanced sentence styles, and this reasoning. Then we will move on to answering implicit inferential questions in the next set of workshops, and finally the long workshops and the long passages. Within that there are techniques. Each has its own set of sub techniques, but broadly there are these 3 problems when it comes to RCs. Is it fine, Harsha? Yeah, there are only, as I said, as we discussed right in the beginning, there are only 4 problems. Okay, if you recall my slide, and we discussed all of your problems. These are only the problem areas, and there are solutions to each, and we'll be talking about these. Joyaditya says, could you go back to the... Okay, I'll go back, Joyaditya, to the style example. Hold on. Let me see if there are some more generic questions. Karthik says, if the topics are dry, I take time to comprehend. No, I think this is not... okay, this is a nice doubt from Karthik. He says, if the topics are dry, I take time to comprehend. So going forward, you should don't expect very interesting topics in RC. So ideally, you know what? See, Karthik and others, it's a very nice question. He's saying the passages are dry. Actually, going forward, as you mature and as you practice, you should stop bothering about the topic of the passage, and you should be only focusing on the long lines and the stylish lines, and you should be only focusing on how the facts are presented and where the facts become an hypothesis or a conclusion. Do you guys get it? Eventually your eyes will become so tuned that you'll be only looking for what is a fact and what is an hypothesis and what is the reasoning. that is being built up, the logic being built up. Most of the times you will find that as you mature in your practice, the topics will slowly start becoming irrelevant. Is it fine, Karthik? And all of you, you should just focus on cracking long sentences, and you should start understanding the underlying styles and how the logic is built up. And once you start doing that, you'll find that the topic does not matter to you anymore. This will happen to you if you attend this workshop properly. You'll soon realize that, in fact, with many people I have found that they start becoming more familiar with literary passages, and in some of the science passages especially can be very difficult. On the contrary, if they have heavy logic, they could be difficult. And I've seen that practically. People slowly start becoming more familiar with the humanities kind of topics. Usually the topics become irrelevant as you learn how to crack the long sentences. That was Karthik's question. How to analyze this detail in a short time? Okay, Karthik, Yash is asking how to analyze all these details in a short time. Yeah, as you practice, it will happen. And we have also chosen passages which become more and more complex in the workshops. And it is better to get familiar with the complexities one at a time. Is that fine, Yash? So in parallel, start reading serious articles from the sources that I have mentioned, and start building your vocabulary, and start getting familiar with these styles that I'm going to send you. Zafar is asking, sir, I got confused about a question like, what's the conclusion of the passage? Okay, questions types will come in the subsequent workshops, Zafar. Specific question types will come. Today and the next workshop, we are just talking about how to read a passage correctly and fast. Okay, without getting bored, without getting tuned out, without losing focus. Okay, that is the theme of today's and the next workshop. Question types will come subsequently. Harsha asks, is the workshop entirely on 3 topics? Not entirely on 3 topics, 3 problem types, as I discussed earlier to somebody's question. Joyaditya, I'm facing difficulty in comprehending still. Okay, we are not finished, Joyaditya. This is only step 1. We'll see more. I'll introduce something called analytical reading, and there are also exercises to develop reading skills. I'll discuss it after the second workshop. We have some online exercises now to develop reading. I will share it. I'll discuss this in the next workshop. That was Joyaditya's question. While reading, we can mark with yellow. Naveen is asking, while reading RC, no, you cannot mark anything like I was doing in the real exam. So, but you have a rough sheet and you can use that. And how to do that, we will see in the subsequent classes. Okay, you cannot highlight in yellow. Yash, how much time should we give for reading the passage? Okay, Yash, don't bother about how much time to read the passage and so on. Timing will come to it later. Right now, just understand. It is like bicycling. Initially, you cannot ask, how much time I should spend to learn balance. But once you get the balance, you don't bother about it, right? So it is something similar. Then it depends on the passage type. You cannot say how much time to read the passage, how to answer the questions. Time management will come later. First, because the time that you give on a question or a passage entirely depends on the size of the passage, and it entirely depends on the question type. You will realize it later. So let's not bother about time for the moment. Attend the workshops regularly, and slowly you will realize what time I should devote for the passage and what time I should devote for the questions. Of course, I'll also be discussing this, but at this stage I cannot answer, and I cannot give you a clear answer that devote 2.5 minutes for a passage, devote 5 minutes for a passage. I cannot tell that, and you yourself will realize later what is the best time to devote for a passage based on the passage type and the question. Is it fine, Yash? Have patience. Right now, let us just focus on learning the skills. to crack a passage. The first step, step 1 out of 2 of how to extract the points accurately from a passage in a short time. Sumit Das is asking, if we get some lines, twisted lines, then it will take more time. Yeah, that is the Sumit, that is the crux. You have to develop the art of cracking long sentences and cracking stylish sentences. I repeat, by practicing a lot of passages and in simultaneously reading editorial like articles, and that is the first step. If you crack how to learn, henceforth don't call it twisted lines. The lines are not twisted, they're only stylish and they're long. So some lines are long but not stylish, and some lines are short and they're stylish. So there's nothing like twisted lines. Okay, Sumit. Srikanth is asking, sir, will all this workshop definitely going to take us achieve in solving any type of passage? Yeah, yeah, I can, because I have taken this workshops for only GRE students. That's another separate program, and people have started cracking. So I have seen results, so I'm quite confident. I only need focus from your side and consciously practice what we discuss here. That was Srikanth's question, because I have seen good results. You just have to trust me on that. I cannot logically prove, Srikanth. How to analyze these details in a short time? Actually, you don't. Yash's question is how to analyze all these details in a short time. Okay, I will discuss this in the next workshop. It is something called analytical reading. We will discuss what you should extract from a passage in the next workshop. Okay, that was Yash's question. I'll precisely come to that in the next workshop. It is called as analytical reading, and after I'll explain what is analytical reading and what to extract from a passage, and then we will have exercises, online exercises, which we will attach to your account in the learning tracker, and it will check whether the questions will check whether you are able to extract the details correctly. Is that fine, Yash? Manu Sharma is asking how to read in such a way that it does not require twice if you read the passage, not waste time. Okay, Manu, that as I must have answered this. Just getting used to long sentences and sentence styles. You'll be able to read fairly 70-80% of the stuff in first reading. Sometimes it's possible that in a difficult passage you have to read once more, or read only that part which was difficult. Okay, whether to read once or, yeah, if you understand how to read long sentences, most of the times you will understand 80% of the stuff in one reading. Okay, that was Manu's question. Naveen's question is, after reading, go to question, then to passage. Oh, no, let us not talk about solving the question at this stage, Naveen. Right now I want to just focus on reading, and then whether to read the passage first, question later, that we will see later. First we will see how to read, then we will see how to answer the question, and then many times it will be very logical to you whether I should read the question first or the passage. Okay, Naveen, let us see first things independently and then the sequence. Srikanth is asking, sir, all this workshop definitely, yeah, that I answered, Srikanth. Anudeep is asking, actually passages about author's views and his main focus and ideas about a passage. These questions are not comfortable. Okay, yeah, Anudeep, that we'll see in the subsequent series of workshops, which will only be devoted to question types. Okay, Suresh, Harsha, Harsha is asking, what if we miss a class? If as far as possible, don't miss it. In case you miss it, we'll send you the recording to everybody, whoever has registered for this workshop. Definitely make sure that you go through it carefully, understand it, send your doubts by email, and come prepared for the next class. Harsha, that is what I would suggest in case you were to miss a class. Srikanth, can you give us examples of topics related to criticism? Okay, we will see a variety of topics, Srikanth, in the course of this workshop, actual RC passage. So I guess, can you repeat the sources, please? So Ronak is asking sources of what, Ronak? Sources of what? Joyaditya is asking if a sentence were to end at do not necessarily rely on their kin. Is there a way to put? Okay, Joyaditya, I'll come to your sentence style. I'll just take generic questions first. Let's slide on. Okay, I'll come to your doubt, Joyaditya, because it is specific to that question. Karthik is asking, can you send me material for practice? Karthik, the focus of this material is there in the learning tracker. Material is there everywhere in CodeCox. What we are doing in this workshop is explaining techniques on how to read, how to answer questions, how to develop reasoning, and how to handle long passages. So as far as material is concerned, there is sufficient material in CodeCox. I think they are all passages from Big Book, from old GRE, and the passages in new GRE are also similar. So if you take CodeCox and your GREH sessions, I think you have sufficient material. But that is not the focus of this workshop, not on material, but more on the actual techniques. Srikanth is asking, definitely going to take, okay, that I've answered Srikanth. Sumit is, if you get kind of twisted lines I've discussed. I think many questions are coming again. Can you give the examples of criticism I've answered? What about psychology passages? Rosaline, I have not seen. Rosaline is asking, what about psychology passages? There are no passages I've seen from psychology. But either case, as I said, you will eventually realize that the topic does not matter, even if it is from psychology or something else, as long as you understand how to crack, again I repeat, long sentences and sentence structures. That's the key. So topic should not worry you after the next workshop. When I explain you what is analytical reading, after that you will know precisely what to look for in a passage. And after that, and if you practice it, most of the times you will become topic agnostic. That is, you will stop worrying about the passage, and whatever the passage is, you'll be like a parser or a compiler in computer science. You will be only looking for sentence, the syntax and extracting, regardless of what the program does. How many of you are from guys from computer science? Are you able to relate? That is what a parser or a compiler does, right? It does not bother about the logic. It just sees whether the lines are right. So that is what will happen to you. You will just extract the key ideas from the passage, regardless of what the topic is. So for that, you'll have to follow analytical reading. I'll explain what analytical reading is in the next workshop. Yuvraj is asking, strengthening the argument, weakening the argument. That will be taking in the end. That is called critical reasoning. Those kind of questions will be taking up towards the end, Yuvraj. Joyaditya is asking, I'll be appearing on 18th. Do I have considerable time? Yeah, you have sufficient time, Joyaditya. Ensure that you develop your vocabulary until then. Start reading what I mentioned today, and I think the workshops will definitely end before that. And by next weekend, I think you will get a good hang. By this weekend, you guys will understand analytical reading, and after that, the next 2-3 workshops, your reasoning will develop tremendously. And you can take off after that, Joyaditya, with more practice. So if your exam is on 18th May, you should be able to do it. Don't worry. Srikanth is asking, unable to continue in reading when I found difficult words. For that, Srikanth, please develop vocabulary in parallel. Many times you can predict the meaning of the word by making some intelligent guess, but I suggest that you learn words in list 6 and list 7 of the word bot. How can the GRE students converse with each other? Harsha is asking how the GRE students can converse with each other. You can join the Facebook group, closed group of GREH students. You can ask your SFA to allow you to join it. There you can talk with other GRE students from GREH. It's a closed group. Harsha, you can speak to your SFA about it. If you're on Facebook, then join it. It is only for enrolled students. Sumit is asking what is the topic for the next class? Yeah, Sumit, it will be analytical reading. The next class will be on analytical reading. Yuvraj is asking this. Okay, Yuvraj wanted this. Yeah, this is, here it is, Yuvraj, whatever you're asking for. Okay, Ronak, this is what is here. I think you and Yuvraj are asking for the same thing. Here are the links. Please feel to send a mail. Send to support@greh.com if you have anything. There are still some questions. Can you tell again regarding material code? ETS Big Book. What is the name of the group? It is in Facebook. Okay, the Facebook group. Okay, I will send you. I'll send you, all of you, the Facebook group for GREH students. After the workshop, I also don't remember. Probably it is /GREH or something. Facebook.com/FB group. I will mail you. I have all of your email IDs. Okay. Yeah, I will do that. Okay, any more doubts that got unanswered? Okay, let me get the Facebook group. Any doubt that got unanswered? Okay, Joy Aditya's doubt on lines. Okay, anything on the sentence styles? Yeah, Joy Aditya, sorry. Anything else generic? Anyone? Tyagarajan says nothing of 9. Joy Aditya has doubts on the sentence styles, so I'll be taking that. Those who want to stay can stay. If you have any other generic doubt, you can please ask me. Next time we'll be doing analytical reading. Anyone has any other generic doubt? Okay, I'll just send you that Facebook thing also. Yeah, this is the Facebook group. I'll send you the link. Yeah, Karthik, I'll be sending the PDF. Yeah, in case I miss anybody because of any reason, please feel free to send a mail to support@greh.com, the standard one. Send it to your SFA and they will also help you. The usual support@greh.com. Okay. Fine. So shall we go back to now? I'll go to Sumit's doubt. Okay, Sumit, which one do you want to talk about? The first stylish sentence. Sumit, is this the one that you're talking about? Okay, so what's the doubt, Sumit? Or shall I unmute you so everybody can hear? Do you have a mic, Sumit? Okay, I have unmuted you. You are on air. You can talk. Others can listen. Hello, Sumit. You have a mic? Okay, you don't have a mic. So next time, please, everybody get a mic. It'll be easy if you want to talk directly. Okay, go ahead then, Sumit. Please type your doubt for the benefit of everybody. Harsha says unmute. Harsha wants to talk something. Yeah, Harsha, go ahead. Talk slowly.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, talk slowly.
Sir, you send that a mail, but how does the friends know that we are the GRE students?
How the friends? No, I didn't get you.
Sir, you send the GRE address of a Facebook.
Correct.
If we gave a link to them, how do they know that we are the GRE students?
They
They
will
may
check.
think about yes, others also know.
Okay, then do one thing. Send your Facebook ID to your SFA and request him to
Okay.
add. And I request him or her to add you. He or
Okay,
your
okay.
SFA will take care.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir, will be our next classes can be intimated?
Next class, is it not on Thursday? Is the schedule not sent to you?
Sir, schedule is sent, but it will be intimated on the day of the event.
Yeah, we'll fix to the, we'll not change from the schedule. We will stick to the schedule. If there is any change, we'll let you know. But
Okay, sir.
we will stick to the schedule.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, fine. Okay, Joyaditya. Yeah, you can. Shall I unmute you, Joyaditya? Now I'm. Yes, Joyaditya and Sumit, you can go ahead with your doubts now. Okay, I've unmuted Joyaditya. You have mic, Joyaditya?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Speak slowly. Yeah. Go ahead.
Could you go back to the slide which has this sentence from the minority groups?
Okay, fine. Oh, sorry, I confused you with Sumit. This one, right? Okay.
Yeah. See, my problem is that there is this tendency of starting from the left and then comprehending a sentence. See, what I want to communicate is this: were the sentence to end at kin?
Okay, one sec. Yeah. Well, let me unmute Harsha. Okay, huh. So, what's your doubt?
Yeah, my doubt is, were the sentence to end at the word kin?
Okay. What would have happened?
Because you see, what would have happened? Because the general tendency is to move from left to right.
Okay.
I have a little difficulty taking the sentence as a whole.
Okay,
so
okay.
That's making comprehension a little difficult.
Okay, let's see what happens. Control C. Okay, let me give me a second. Let me copy this. Okay, I don't know how to copy this. What should I do to copy this?
Is there a way?
Or else I can get it from somewhere else.
Should I read it out to you?
No. I'll copy it. It'll be easy. One sec. Give me a second. $19. So give me a second, everybody. Okay, most of the examples I'll be using from Codecooks. Okay, so this was the passage. Okay, so this is a long passage. I only took a small one. a small line. Let us go to that one. This was the line. So these I have just taken as examples, Jaydeep, but here, okay, this was the line. Yeah, that I had taken as an example of a stylish one. So actually, see, it's a long passage. Oh, go ahead. What's your doubt here?
Yeah, you see, my doubt is that there is this tendency to move from left to right. I have difficulty comprehending the sentence as a whole. So, what if the sentence were to end at kin? It would take a different meaning altogether. So, is there a way to overcome this tendency?
See, okay. Now I know that the sentence individual entrepreneurs do not necessarily rely on their kin. If it was like this, it means it has a different meaning. Individual entrepreneurs necessarily do not on their kin. This means that they also rely on someone else.
True.
If it was a full stop, this is what this line means.
Yes, and how do you relate the two fragments? Because can I say that?
Oh, you tend to stop here. Do you tend to stop here? Is it?
Yes.
Okay. So that is because, see, you should not do that. Actually, you should actually read it till the full stop. That is for sure, because fanboys. Okay. See, actually, this, if you ask me technically, this is a compound sentence. Okay, this is one simple sentence. And this is another sentence. Actually, these are two sentences joined by what is called as a I don't know a technical word. I think it's called conjunction or coordinator or something. Okay, so if you read them independently, yes, you can get a different meaning, but you have to. It is the same as like based on this coordinator. Actually, the two sentences can make a different meaning. If you see this is an independent sentence. Individual entrepreneurs do not necessarily rely on their kin. Right, that is an independent statement, and they cannot obtain financial backing from commercial sources. If you read this line independently, it will mean that the financial banking, that commercial sources do not back them. If you read this line independently, okay,
yes.
it conveys, each of these independent line conveys a different meaning. Do you agree? Yeah, but it's because of this, because it takes a different meaning. The same logic will be actually used in your text completion also. Okay, this is actually technically called as a compound sentence. It's compound sentence. So it contains two simple sentences. Simple, not as in a grammar sense. Two simple sentences joined by a coordinating conjunction. I think it is called. I don't recollect the exact thing. Coordinate. Let me use this word for now. Coordinating conjunction. From now, and then there will be another sentence, a sentence 2, and sentence 1 and sentence 2 can have one meaning, but because of this conjunction, it takes a different, the whole thing has a different interpretation. And the coordinating conjunctions typically are for and it's nor, and because, it is or, yet, and since. Yeah, you can look up for this. It's called as this is called fanboys, as an acronym. It's called this thing. So based on based on what is used, what is the conjunction use, the whole sentence can have different meaning.
Sir, can I just interrupt? Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. Is there a way by which, let's say, if the first half of the sentence is interpreted in a manner that the individual entrepreneurs rely on their kin and something else as well to relate to the second part of the sentence, that there is not sufficient financial backing from commercial resources to get the intended meaning? Because to logically club them together and get the meaning as is intended in the passage is something something which is not still clear to me.
Okay, that I
I
think.
mean, I understand the technical structure.
Yeah, so that, see, I gave a lot of examples in the beginning, right? It is no different from, all this what I discussed. See, if the exam was easy, I would have cracked. So if you read it independently, then this will also mean the exam is easy. But it is this if which is causing if that is causing a contrast. If you look at, it's the same thing that's happening here. The exam was easy, I would have cracked. But it is because of this if that the whole meaning becomes different. You got it. So it is only getting used to the styles. Now there is no reason. I mean, as I said, there is no logical. I cannot logically explain you why it means so. It is a language aspect, and I cannot, just as I cannot explain here. If the exam was easy, I would have cracked. This you are able to visualize. No, it does not mean that the exam. It means that the exam was hard and he did not crack. So this one is similar to that. There is no reason. Like even here, I cannot actually explain, why this means this.
Sir, actually what is happening is here it is almost explicit that the exam was not easy.
Huh.
But even if we take the first part of the sentence, however,
Right.
in this one,
Yeah.
the first part, if someone tries to comprehend it independently, it would mean something altogether different, which is what the problem.
Yeah, I got it. So because actually the line is long and it is stylish, yes, but this is what you will have to overcome.
Okay.
There is no, there is
Right.
no other way, because actually you have to read the whole thing till the full stop. Okay, in general.
Yeah.
And there are some things that can be dropped, which I'll be discussing in the subsequent. As we read more passages, things will be more clear. Okay, I'll be walking you through all these examples in the subsequent workshops, but you cannot stop at independent. Lines. Okay, so this is you can also remember that this is a typical structure. Like it's a compound. There'll be only these things. For and the simple sentences actually can be really long, so that you don't see this structure. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you get this?
It will need some getting along. Okay. Yeah, I get the idea.
Yeah. So you walk through all the sentence styles continuously, and which I'll be sending to all of you. And in parallel, please continue to read, because there is no actually there is no logical. This is a grammar language thing, and why they have said like that and why it means, it is hard to there is no reason. Just as
Okay.
there are no reasons here. So, but you have to read the entire line till the full stop, usually. And certain things can be skipped, which I'll show through examples in the subsequent workshops. For example, stuff in the bracket can be skipped. Okay.
Okay.
I'll explain this in the subsequent workshops, but yeah. Does that answer your question? You get a...
Yeah, it does. It
Right.
needs some getting along, sir, but yes, I get the idea, sir.
Yeah. But don't stop in intermediate. Like, don't stop. Yeah, you're right. What you pointed out. If you read this line independently and this line independently, they convey different meaning. But when because of this, the whole thing changes. Just similar to this one. Because of this, if everything changes, right?
Right.
It is same that I can just give you an analogy like that. This kind of analogy. Like this would have been the most simplest form, right? This would have been a simplest form of saying exam was hard and he did not crack, right? And this is a stylish version of this, right? Likewise here also, the simplest one could have been, we could have written it in a more simple. Had it been a textbook, it would have been this individual entrepreneurs uh, 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 mainly mostly do not approach the banks, but rely more on their kin. Then I would say the reason is not that. The reason is not because they don't offer loans to minorities.
Yeah.
The reason is one and two. One is higher interest rates, and then two. This is what one would have written if it was
Yes.
in a textbook or a newspaper article. Okay, but this is more like a scholarly way of doing the same thing, and this is what is difficult in RC, and this is what you have to master.
How many such styles are there, sir? I mean, is it too long a list to?
There are, I scrounged through some 20 odd, and I found only about 7 or 8. So don't have to worry. I will send it in that PDF. The difficulty is not understanding the style. The difficulty then will be in understanding when you're reading that, oh my God, this is that style. Did you get it?
Relating, yeah.
Understanding
Yes,
that, oh God, this is that. Because what will happen is, of course, I have given in the PDF, I have given small examples like this, which are familiar, and I have also given examples from actual RC passages. So when I'm in the PDF, you'll be able to understand and relate. Okay, and when you actually encounter such passages and such lines, you should be able to realize that is more important, and that will of course happen with practice.
Right, sir. Of the links that you shared with us, is there? I mean, would you recommend any site which has emphasis on these styles in particular, or is it just,
amongst them, I found Hindu. The Hindu is often the editorials from the Hindu usually are very tough, and often
okay.
this one is the best for complex lines, and more or less it sounds closest to GRE passages. Whereas economists and financialists, you will get exposed to a lot of different topics, but sometimes they are not as difficult as the Hindu, I felt.
Okay, sir.
Okay, the advantage is you'll get exposed to other topics, because Hindu will mostly restrict to what is of interest to us, elections and Aam Aadmi Party and Janata Party, which you are familiar. Economists and financialists will suddenly introduce topics which you are not familiar. Some problem in Turkey. There is also some political problem in Turkey. So you don't know the history and geography of Turkey, but I mean, I'm just saying. So suddenly you'll be able to relate to those topics if you read these economists and financialists.
Okay.
You
Now,
got
I
it?
meant for specifically for the styles.
Yeah. First
you
one
recommend
is
the Hindu.
yes. First for style and structure in familiar contexts, because they are all Indian context. And second, more than style, it's more like complex topics, overcoming fear of topics.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Does that answer your?
Yeah, it does, sir. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
fine. Okay, let me see if others had, while we are discussing, if people had other questions. Okay, any more questions while we are discussing? Naveen was asking Times of India. I found Times of India is simple, Naveen, usually relatively quite simple. Even their editorials are simple. I found Hindu is quite tough. Anudip is asking, I think after reading Hindu, our doubts won't be cleared. So any other resource which we can clear our doubts or self-doubts? Try reading Anudip. It's not necessary that all doubts will get cleared, but definitely something will definitely improve. At least your familiarity will improve, and you'll not feel afraid of passages. And as I was telling, as I was just mentioning to Joyditya, you go through those the styles that we have identified in the PDF, which we will be sending you. And of course, if you have some doubts, you can always ask on that Facebook forum and discuss with others. That will be one good way. Okay, but it also please remember that you don't have to understand 100% of a passage, Anudeep. Even if you understand 80% of a passage, it's sufficient to answer many of the questions. And it's only important to crack some of the most important lines in the passage, and they are not necessarily the long lines. Is it fine, Anudeep? Okay, is it fine, Anudeep? Anudeep is saying we may understand the style wrongly. So, yeah, but it's not necessarily and it's not necessary that all passages have those styles. Is it fine, Anudeep? Not every passage will be difficult. I took some examples to demonstrate, but it's not necessary that. Okay, but definitely with practice, you'll be more and more familiar, and that way things will be more and more easy. Oh, okay, Harsha, thanks for the compliment. But Anudeep, please read the Hindu, and next class I will be talking about how to read an RC passage analytically, something called analytical reading. So it will become, see, today you got exposed to many things, right? At least now you know that these are the problems. As I was telling in the beginning, Anudeep, if sometimes when you know the problems, it is better. You will start looking for solutions. When you don't understand the enemy, it becomes more difficult. Do you agree, Anudeep? Now at least you know the problem areas, right? So now you can look for techniques to how to overcome them. I think before this workshop you probably didn't even know that there are styles, and now I'm telling you that there are only some 7 or 8 styles. Does it not still make it easy? Right? So don't get scared, Anudeep. It is not that complicated, and once you know the factors, the parameters, then you can manipulate them very easily to your advantage. Okay, anybody has any questions? Fine, Anudeep, yeah. Only 2 or 3 from the editorial every day, that should be sufficient. Okay, in general, I felt that of everybody, do the vocabulary part, the list 6, list 7, read regularly, 2-3 articles, not more, that much is sufficient. No need to read novels and so on, because novels do not have this deadly structures. And third is, a thumb rule I found is, if you do 20 to 30 passages very seriously, you get the necessary skill. It's not that you have to solve 100 or 150. In my opinion, for any normal person, 20 to 30 passages are enough. Is it fine, everybody? From my experience, 25 to 30, if done very seriously and very critically, examining each detail, you will develop all the necessary skills. Okay, any more question, guys? Okay, Harsha is fine. Okay, anything else, Joyaditya? Monica, any questions? Manu Sharma, any more questions? Okay, fine. So see you all in the okay. You'll also find me in that same face group, so you can friend me or you can inbox your doubts at any point. Any more questions, Manu, Sharma, Naveen, Rosaline, any more questions? Okay, then shall we hang up the session then today? Okay, Sumit is asking my Facebook. There you'll find me as you'll find me like this. GREH Yogesh. Okay, Navin, catch you in the next session. Okay, Harsha, catch you next time.